Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking to a girl based out in Nigeria, and she is going to be telling us all things about living with sickle cell in Nigeria. She is a 28-year-old graduate of food and technology in Chinese Mandarin language, a model, sickle cell wellness and advocate, and a current Miss Tourist Nigeria Southern Queen. I am so excited that she took the time out to talk to us about her challenges of living with sickle cell and how she found ways around it. As many of you know, sickle cell is a blood disorder that is genetically inherited from both parents. And most kids who live with sickle cell disease, especially in Africa, are thriving, but there's still lots of difficulties around the illness. We'll be talking about that. Meet Ebika. Well, Ebika, welcome again. Welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. And as we're both sickle cell warriors, I think it's always nice when we, share light on the illness itself and also share the joy. I see you're wearing your Miss Tourism beauty pageant crown, and I want to say massive congratulations about that. You're absolutely stunning, and it just shows that it doesn't matter what chronic illness you're going through, you can still achieve whatever you need to achieve. How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. I'm very fine. Honestly, I feel humbled being here with you. Like I never saw it coming. When you reached out to me, I said, "What is going on? Is the universe actually working for my good this week?" I mean, I just jumped into it and said, "Yes, of course, I'm
Oh,
available." So it's my pleasure being here with you. Thank you very much for having me.
no, it's good because you're doing so much. You're very vocal about sickle cell. You're an advocate for it, and you're not ashamed. A lot of people I know, I talk to them, and they talk about sickle cell, and there's still that stigma, especially in Africa, about should I tell people what will be the perspective of it. But anyway, before we dive into all of that, can you tell me a little bit about your beautiful self?
About myself,
Yes.
okay. I am Ebika Oluohu, a 26-year-old graduate of food technology and Chinese Mandarin language. I am from the southern side of Nigeria, Cross River State.
Mhm.
My both parents are from Cross River State, and I am the first amongst five children. I have four younger boys after me. They are my soldiers. I call them my soldiers. So basically, I am a girl that came from a home of a couple, a husband and a wife, who really don't know much about sickle cell anemia, but they were and are determined to make sure that whatever it is that I live with, they're determined to have a woman, a confident woman as a child. They never once made me feel less of myself because I live with sickle cell anemia. I mean, my dad would always tell me, I don't see you as someone living with sickle cell anemia, so I don't even want you to be saying it that you live with sickle cell anemia. I want you to always proclaim that you are different, and no matter what is going on with your health, you are the best definition of strong. So I would say those affirmations from my parents actually made me love myself, even though with the whole health condition, it made me understand that truly life is not about what you live with, it's about what you make out of it and how you intend to have your life going. So with those affirmations from them, I got to understand that life truly is, it can be simple if you want to make it simple for yourself, and it will be difficult if you want to make it difficult for yourself. I mean, people live with health conditions and they try to pinpoint on it,
Yeah.
not to not to kind of go for what they want or go after things that they aspire to become. But my parents for once never made me feel that way.
Oh, wow.
Like my parents, I even attended a boarding school. That's how determined they were to make sure that I learned to be strong. They were so determined to make sure that I learned to be strong. I attended boarding school, but when I got to the higher institution, they made sure that I schooled close to home, in the sense that whenever I had crisis, they could easily drive up to my school, get me, and take me to my physician's place. So that's basically who I am. I'm just a young girl who learns to rise above limitations and trying as much as possible that I also spread the word out there that youngsters in Nigeria, Africa, all over the world fully with whatever health condition, not just sickle cell anemia, learns to rise above their limitations. So this is where I am.
And honestly, what you're saying is very, very true. I think the way your parents brings you up when you have a chronic illness makes a huge difference, because that is the beginning of your confidence of saying to yourself that it doesn't matter what you're going through, you could still survive this. How did they find out that you were diagnosed with sickle cell? When did they find out that you had it?
Okay, my parents told me the story that they traveled back home to the village and my dad got palm wine. Do you know what is a palm wine?
I think it's like a local alcohol drink. I would describe
Yes.
it that way.
Yes,
It's white
yes,
in color. Yeah.
gotten from palm tree.
Yes.
Gotten from palm tree, yes. So you know how little babies are, and then it was just me. I mean, they were just like new wedded. It was just me, and I didn't have my younger brothers then, so I was the only child with them. So while my dad was trying to sip to sip his, you know how little child would be like, okay, daddy, can I sip this? Can I take your Coke? My mom said I call it Coke.
Yes.
I didn't really, and they didn't really want to tell me that this is alcohol or this is palm wine. They just told me, okay, that is daddy's Coke. You know how parents try to
Yeah,
look around.
disguise. Yeah, try and disguise whatever that is drinking, whatever alcohol parents is drinking. They're like, just don't ignore it. It's just a normal Coca-Cola.
Exactly. So when my dad gave me a sip, and my mom said just immediately, they didn't really understand what was going on, but I started fidgeting and I wasn't myself. And I think I was just a year and I was not up to see it. Then they had to rush me to our physician's hospital. I was given drip. Like I was just so weak. They just didn't understand what was going on. Then the physician asked what happened, what did she take? They told him I took alcohol, and he said, okay, I think I have to run a genotype test, because something like this can only happen if she takes alcohol, and of course maybe she's dehydrated because of the alcohol intake, and I need to be sure of her genotype. So that was how they knew that I live with sickle cell anemia. So from then, life started.
Did they know about sickle cell before?
No, they didn't. My mom said she didn't. They did
No?
not. No, they did
Wow.
not.
So that was like literally the first time they really heard about the word sickle cell and what. And so when did your mom know these are the things she needed to do to at least help you in case you had a crisis?
I would say my physician, my pediatrician, he is a family friend, and honestly, he's like the best doctor I have ever met.
Mm.
He is someone that is humble, and he's ever ready to teach you what you need to know that you can do for your child. My mom, as a first-time mom, and being that her first child lives with sickle cell anemia, honestly, I know it was tough for her. I know it would have been so, so tough, but she always made sure that she reached out to the pediatrician to ask, what am I going to do today? This is how she feels. She is not eating. She is vomiting. She is this. Sometimes she said, I won't even take any other thing aside banana. Banana was my go-to food and fruits. And she made sure that at a point she was scared that it was becoming much. Then she asked the physician, okay, she's not taking anything, and the only thing she seems to like is banana. What should I do? And my physician said, just continue giving it to her. So long as it's fruit and it's safe, banana can never be too much, vitamin C cannot be too much. Just keep giving it to her if that is the only thing she takes. But make sure that she's always taking water so she's not dehydrated. So my mom basically would I say she was a student under the physician, because the physician would always say, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. She would always call. Sometimes she would run to him with me in her arms and all of that. Honestly, my mom is a hero. Honestly, any sickle cell mother out there, they are heroes. And
Right.
I really need to doff my hat for all of them. They're really doing well. It's not easy having a sickle cell child. It is
Yeah.
not easy at all.
But how would if someone says to you, how would you describe sickle cell pain? How would you describe it?
Sickle cell.
The pain we suffer.
There's no word.
I know.
I don't think there's a word to describe sickle cell. There is no word at all, because sickle cell pains differ. You think that you have seen it all, but the next time it comes so different.
Mhm.
Should I talk about the acute chest syndrome? Should I talk about the crisis of when you just went about your normal day like every other person, and you come home and you just want to relax, sleep, but before you know it, your knees hurt,
Mm.
either because do too much that day, or maybe you walked a very long distance, or maybe you sat too much. I mean, the normal things give you pains, and that's why I say sickle cell pains. Seriously, it's there's no word to describe it, because things that are normal for everyone, to you it's abnormal. To you it brings you pain. So there is really no particular word for sickle cell pain because it comes differently. You think you're cynical, but the next time it hits you, you'd ask yourself, what is going on? Where is this pain coming from? I remember one certain time when I think I was 13 years old, yes. I had just come back from school and I was laying down on the couch. I was laying down, like nothing was wrong with me. And as I woke up from my siesta, all I could feel in my teeth was this very serious pains. Like, I didn't understand, was it toothache? No, it was not toothache. So what is going on with me? My gums everywhere around my teeth were aching, and I didn't understand. I couldn't even open my mouth to say, I'm in pain. My mom wasn't at home. Her younger sister was at home, and she was like, "What is going on?" I told her, "I don't know. I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable." They had to rush me to the hospital, and physicians, they know what to do to try to reduce the pain at that certain time. So when I was giving this pain relief injection, at least I could speak and say, "This is how I am feeling." That particular experience, I can't forget it, because that's the only time I actually had a kind of crisis that comes in the teeth, jawline, gums, and all of that. So really, there is no word to describe sickle cell pain. No word at all.
No,
No word at
honestly, you are right. And that sickle cell, the mouth one you described, I'm happy you talked about it because I thought it was just me. The older I'm getting, the more my crisis is only around the mouth now. And it numbs your mouth. And I've started to think, is there something wrong with me? Why? Every time I go for walks or cold weather, it goes on my mouth, you just go. It's like you can't really talk, and it's
Yeah.
so pain. It's just uncomfortable as well. It's just a weird kind of pain, not the bone crisis pain. This is just a typical way, and I'm just happy that someone else shares that story. It's not just myself who goes through that kind of sickle cell crisis. That someone else shares that story. How was it growing up as a child, going to school, managing relationship? How do you deal with all of that with sickle cell?
It's tough. It was tough as a school student. But I say from college, from high school, it was tough because my high school, they were not really very informed about sickle cell anemia. And it pained me so much that even teachers, not just my fellow students stigmatized me, but even teachers did. If I really wanted to give up on myself, I would have given up on myself when I was a college student, because I really didn't have it fair. I had senior students who nicknamed me Ongo. Ongo is an Igbo language. It's death. So they call death in Igbo language in Nigeria. I had senior students nickname me Ongo. And sometimes when I really wanted to do what other pupils or other students are doing, they would say, no, shift one side. I don't want anyone that will faint near me, or I don't want anyone that will just collapse. I mean, I just wanted to be a growing child that can express what other people are experiencing. But other people thinking that they're doing me good, they were stigmatizing me. Like, you're not letting me do what I have to do. Yes, I understand that you know that I live with this and you have to be careful around me, but you using those words on me and you telling me to shift, you're going to collapse. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. You're just stigmatizing me. You're not helping me out. I experienced a whole lot of stigmatization in college. Teachers, sometimes I remember when I was at my boarding house mistress's house and she was with her friend. And while I was eating with other students, she kind of did something like, look at that girl, she needs a sickle cell anemia. I felt so bad that amidst other students, the child that they could gossip with was me because of my health condition. Not like she has ever done anything helpful for me, for my health, but she still had the effrontery and the strength to gossip about me with her fellow teacher. I mean, I experienced a whole lot of that. And back then in school, I would say my parents were doing me well by putting me in a boarding school to make sure that I get used to stress and try to be strong. But in a different perspective, they really didn't do me well because then in secondary school, I was not really following up academically. My position was always down, 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 20, 20 something. The highest position I had when I was in secondary school was 11th position. That was the highest position I had. I mean, I could not. I didn't have the strength to manage my sickle cell pains, the boarding house stress, the
Mm.
stress of sleeping so late and waking up so early. I didn't have the strength, and I didn't have anyone around me helping me do some certain things like maybe wash my clothes, or help me in times when I'm not feeling well to do this and that. Yes, I had school mothers, but then these people are teenagers just like me. They were 15, 14, and I was 10, or let's say 11. So they really don't know much. They did the much they could, but then they're not me, and they don't really know what is going on within me. Most times I wouldn't have time to read, or maybe when I even try to study, I'm not understanding anything because I am going through things inside of me. It was just, would I say God willing, or would I say because I'm naturally a smart person, that was how I was able to scale through all the whole classes without repeating.
Mm.
I managed. I managed
Understand.
out of college. I managed out of college.
And how are you dealing with relationships? Do people run away when they know you have sickle cell, or do they just like, okay, let me just give her a chance?
With relationships, when I started dating, it was not an issue because the person that actually started dating me was someone who knew my family and knew what I was going through. So it was not an issue. But since then, it has been an issue in the sense that it's either that whoever lives with whoever is of genotype AA that I meet, the person may not really be understanding enough to know that this is what I go through and this is what you should do. And most times you would meet someone with AS, and this person is willing to love you, to take care of you,
Yeah.
to do whatever.
Mm.
But then because of the genotype, you would ask yourself, but we are not financially buoyant enough. Even if we get married now, are we going to be able to afford IVF and whatever bed procedures that we can do to avoid getting another sickle cell child? So it has been tough. Currently, I'm not in a relationship because of all of this trauma, difficulties of getting someone who is really right for you. I keep praying that I find someone, but right now it's still tough as hell. And I wouldn't say that me not finding anyone is not really because of that I live with sickle cell anemia, because I'm naturally a very confident woman. And looking at me, sometimes people say they cannot tell that I live with this because I look different and the things I do are not really ordinary. So I wouldn't say it is because of sickle cell anemia. Sometimes I feel like I appear too strong or too independent. I don't know if that is an issue, but I've had someone tell me that I have so many goals and so many things I want to achieve for myself, and it feels like it's going to swallow his. I had someone tell me that.
Oh my goodness.
So I really don't think it's really about sickle cell anemia. It's not only about sickle cell anemia. There are men out there, they have their wants, and sometimes they try as much as possible not to get too involved with people who have this very big purpose. And I have seen myself as someone who has a very big purpose in life. I see myself as someone who God actually brought to this life to be different, but to be a face of motivation to youngsters, younger children who live with sickle cell anemia, and to other people, it's a very huge task. But for me, it's not. I try to inculcate it in everything that I do every day. I try to speak about sickle cell anemia. So if I find a partner and you say you cannot do this with me because the field is too big, then so be it. I wouldn't let my God's given purpose just go under the rug because you feel like I'm too much, or because I'm into so many things, or because I'm too out there, my personal life and all of that. Of which I don't even share my personal life so much. All everyone knows about me is I live with sickle cell anemia and I advocate for sickle cell anemia.
That's
You don't know
it.
what I go through. You don't know my personal things. So why does it look too much for them? I don't know. So then we're
But how
here.
did you go on from Ebika? How did you go on from being, a student to going on to compete in and becoming, a winner for Miss Tourism? What happened? How did you get that inspiration? Were you not nervous when you were doing the show of the stress that it might entail?
Actually, my pageant life started when I was still in college.
Mm.
I was about 13 years old. That was when I won my very first crown. Someone approached me in school and said, "Oh, you're so slim. I love your stature. You can be a model. You can be a beauty queen. Why not come contest for this competition?" I contested and I won. That was Miss Clyde of I wouldn't want to mention my secondary school because I think I've said a lot of things. So that was the slide of my school. And after then, I got to realize that I'm actually a very confident woman, and what people see as a disadvantage, I can actually use it to my own advantage. I can become a model. I mean, I have the stature, all thanks to my health condition. I mean, it's not that bad after all. So that was where my confidence started. I still learned how to speak out for myself, to speak up for myself. Then the very next time I went for a competition, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, my advocacy and all of that, because being a beauty queen is not just about putting on the crown, it's about what you have to offer, what you represent. So after some soul searching, I got to realize that, okay, I think my purpose is in advocating for sickle cell anemia. I mean, I live with it. And on a normal day, I inspire people like me who live with it. Why don't I go into this fully and say, okay, yes, I want to become a beauty queen because I want to be the face of motivation to younger children who live with sickle cell anemia. And that was how it just started for me. After higher institution, when I graduated 2019. I did contest for Miss Nigeria, but sadly I couldn't make it through because of voting costs and all of that. Then I went for Miss Tourism Nigeria. That was last year, 2020. All through the lockdown, it was tough for me. During the lockdown, you cannot just go out anyhow, and there were a whole lot of things I needed to do in preparation for the contest. But I tried as much as possible. I was pushing through. My parents were supporting, my friends, everyone around me were supporting me with all they had. So I went in for the competition. I made sure that every time I saw a microphone, I spoke about sickle cell anemia. I made sure that whoever was close to me was listening, and whoever is there is getting to know that this strong woman you're seeing actually with the sickle cell anemia that people try to stigmatize or make people feel shy for. And I'm proud of it because it does not define me. I mean, I live with sickle cell anemia, but I don't live for sickle cell anemia. I am different.
Yeah.
That I live with sickle cell anemia does not mean that you have to label me a sickler or a weakler. I live with sickle cell anemia. I am different. This is who I am. I am a food technology graduate. I studied Chinese Mandarin. I work as a Chinese Mandarin translator with Miniso, Nigeria. So yes, I am proud of myself that even if I live with this health condition that you all make youngsters feel low of themselves for, I am different. And I'm here standing, trying as much as possible that youngster who is out there in secondary school gets to hear my voice and know that even though they live with this, there can be more. I made sure I did all of this. I made sure that I told myself was even if I don't go home with a crown, I know that the whole world gets to hear about me. And whenever this competition gets is televised, everybody gets to know that, oh wow, so people can actually be sick cell anemia and be this good and be this strong and be
You
this
did go
outspoken.
home with a crown. You did
Yes,
go
and I
home with a
did.
crown. I mean, that is amazing. And I really want to congratulate you for
Thank
coming
you
back
so
home
much.
with the crown and being an advocate for sickle cell, speaking so well. What's your final question? What's your hope for people with the crown on your head now? What is your hope for people with sickle cell in Nigeria in particular?
Okay, currently my team and I are planning on a secondary school tour, college school tour. We plan to start with the southern states, that's the southern states that I currently represent. We plan to visit at least 2 schools each of the 6 southern states in Nigeria, in total making it 12 schools. We plan to go there to sensitize school students about sickle cell anemia, how they can treat their classmates or whoever that they know who live with sickle cell anemia, as well as informing and educating school teachers, proprietors about sickle cell anemia, how they can help their students to live with it. And at the same time, also educate people about the current pandemic going on all over the world, the COVID-19. I mean, schools, last year in Nigeria, schools were being shut down because of this pandemic, or because they have really lacked in school studies. Schools are currently reopening. So we need to ensure that as well as we're educating them about sickle cell anemia, we're also educating the school children how to stay safe in this COVID-19 pandemic, how they can safeguard their health for their loved ones and for their parents at home. So we are currently on the planning stage, and this is a project that means so dear to me. I've always dreamt about it. I've always dreamt about the possibilities of going to a secondary school with my crown on my head, telling people that I live with sickle cell anemia, but I'm a beauty queen, and this is what I have done with my life so far. And I still have so much to do. I want you to know that people who live with sickle cell anemia are not weaklings, or they are not sicklers, as how people would try to term it. We are strong people who are determined and can be whoever we want to be. So God willing, I pray that this project comes to pass because it means so much to me, and this is something I've always dreamt about doing. I hope that soon enough we'll be able to kickstart the project.
Wonderful. Honestly, thank you so much, Ebika, for talking to me and
Thank
shining so much
you.
light on sickle cell, and not just sickle cell. I think anyone listening with any kind of chronic illness or anyone who's feel down about themselves will believe
Yes.
that the world will put you down. It doesn't matter what you do, but it's up to you to find the strength within yourself to get up again and keep thriving. And you've shown that with living with a sickle cell condition, you've had your challenges, but look at you, very beautiful. You deserve the world in every way possible because you're such a stunning girl. And I'm so glad that you won it
Yeah.
because you represent so much for so many people. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you so much, Lady Erin.
Thank
I'm
you.
so humbled to be here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.